Greetings, good storytellers. I'm the Artful Narrator, and this is a channel update. Now, I had lightly touched upon some of these topics in a super impromptu, poorly set up stream a while back, and so I wanted to put it in an actual condensed update video. My family's been going through health and financial problems with both due to me and also due to my mom's Alzheimer's was getting so significantly bad that my dad had to quit work to be able to come home and help me take care of her. I've still been trying to get on Social Security disability because I'm still having extensive trouble with my depression and diabetes, but a bunch of the help that we needed wasn't available to us in Wyoming, which was the state that I grew up in and where I've been for the past entirety of my life. And that combined with rental difficulties in my hometown, and with suddenly just there being no rentals and the only rentals that were available, going up in price, like quadrupling in price. Like legitimately, we were stretched thin paying $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. And that was the ridiculously high end before, and now suddenly it was like 10,000, and that was the low end. And so it just became unfeasible to stay there. And so we had a period where there was no place we could stay, and so we just had to stay in a friend's garage. The rest of the house was being renovated so that it could be sold. There were a couple of bedrooms and a bathroom that were able to that the friend was able to let us use. So my dad was able to sleep in the bedroom, and I slept in the car in the garage with my cats. And we did that for 2 months. It's gonna be 3 months. This is Earl. Hi, Earl. It's a big cat. Yeah, we haven't seen him in the videos as much before because he likes to hunt mice and do all sorts of fun things, but there's not a lot of room to do fun things when he's been stuck with me in socks, in smaller areas. So after that, we finally were just to the point where we had to get out of there, so we left Wyoming and went to California because both my mom and my dad have family there, and so we're staying with them for the time being. And we had put mom in a assisted living home for a time being, but that was over in Idaho, and we didn't want to just leave her there, so we took her out there and brought her with us. So at the moment we are in California. Mom and dad are both staying in a spare room at his brother's, and I'm staying in the brother's RV out in the parked out front, and the brother has family that are allergic to cats and owns 3 dogs, so both Earl and Socks are in the RV with me. It's much smaller than I would prefer, but after staying in the Suburban for 3 months, it's significantly better than that. At least I have my computer. I don't have a spectacular filming spot. This is the one and only filming spot, and it's right in the middle of a cat highway, as you can see. But I do want to get back to doing more videos and to trying to get some things accomplished. So still things are settling down some, but just still having a lot of trouble with depression, anxiety, and diabetes, with the health insurance being better here. Or I should be able to possibly get some alternate treatment options and things like that can help, because as it's all but confirmed that I have extremely strong resistance to antidepressants, and so need to look into alternative forms of some sort of different treatments or things like that. There's some different stuff they have for people with high resistance. So can start trying some of that, see if any of that helps, and try to get set up with new therapists and everything here, because taking this seriously and doing everything I can, and both in my own personal life and with meditation and stuff like that whenever I'm physically able, and then also getting all the help from both any medicines that the doctors can offer and any psychological help that they can offer through therapists and stuff like that. So this is a huge priority for me. It's something that I'm working to get done, but it takes a long time getting established in the new place, getting all the forms filled out, getting appointments with the doctors, getting everything squared away. So that process is getting closer to being concluded, and that'll hopefully start to get things rolling a little bit quicker. As far as the channel, as always, I'm still want to do with things on the channel. I'm still motivated to get stuff done, but I'm still having the balancing act of trying to come to terms with lowering my expectations, because there are so many videos that have had scripts for years. Like literally, if I go into my scripts folder, I have multiple different trope video scripts, a lot of ones dating back like 2017, 2018, 2019, 2017, and 2020, 2018, 2017, and got a ton of different scripts that I've been working on in one form or another for a long time. I'm not like actively, trying to fine tune it for years, of course not, but just going, this is an idea I want to make a video on let's save some of the elements here, because before I would really like to have 3 strong elements of different examples to use that when woven together made an interesting point. And so I would watch a show and see, this is a great example of an element for this, and so then I would save that, and then maybe a year later I'd see another element, and so it was that process of just sort of having some stories that I wasn't ready to tell just yet, tropes and literary themes that I wasn't ready to make a video on just yet, but as I would encounter these in my own writing process, or just in my video, movie and TV viewing and book reading, I would try to save all those so that they would be there when I needed them. Tragically, a lot of times I obviously didn't save the notes as well as possible, because I've come across specifically, I remember the I forget, it was called something like is a hero only as good as their villain, that originally I actually wanted the 3rd example in that to be an episode of Columbo that illustrated the point much better, and instead I didn't write that down I ended up, I've done a pretty good job of having only one instance of each script for a certain type of trope, but I apparently got 2 instances of it in that case, because in one place I had written down the example that I ended up actually using in the video, which was the 3 Musketeers with Tim Curry, and that wasn't as it worked, but it wasn't as well as the Columbo one would have worked, because that was an example of the villain being so enjoyable, which is nothing wrong with that. It's from I forget what it's called, I have it written down, but there's a Columbo episode where there's an Irish gun runner, and he's played by a wonderful character actor. He's been on a bunch of great old shows, been Murder She Wrote a bunch of times, and he's absolutely wonderful in that. But at Columbo's side of the story is very bad, as far as Columbo's process normally works. That Columbo is someone who picks at the story that the guilty party has crafted, picks at their alibi, just sort of lightly pulls a little string there and a little string there, and as he works out, suddenly the whole thing just unravels. But in that episode, instead, he pretty much stays stuck on one clue. And he still does his whole process of having banter and just lightly sort of teasing out extra slip-ups from the guilty party. But they don't have that tiered. Normally he goes from one clue to another clue, or is just seen to be just waiting for the villain to slip up. Instead, he spends an inordinate amount of time on one clue. And you can see that in this, normally it's a pretty balanced amount of time. You see Columbo, like 60% of the episode is Columbo. Scenes about him, or him and the villain, and then the other 40% is scenes of the villain, because it's this character study. You want to understand both Columbo and whoever the antagonist, whoever the murderer is. But in this one, it's the opposite. You have like 60% of the episode is the villain, and only 40% is Columbo. And the episode is significantly longer than most episodes are. And so it really feels strange that for such a long episode, there's so little meat, so little, Columbo doing his thing. And that's because the majority of the time is the guest villain being just super enjoyable, just so much fun. And it makes for a very fun episode, but you can tell that that extra focus on the villain doesn't serve the premise of letting the hero be the hero. So that would have been a better example of that for is a hero only as good as their villains. But so, again, so you can see how that's what my process is just making these notes and waiting for inspiration to strike for me to find that final component I need to be like, yes, okay, now it's time to tell that episode. And so because these sit for such a long time, some of them I come up with in a week and boom, it's done. But other ones, I just sort of let it sit on the shelf, let it mature, let it ripen like a wine, like a fine wine. A very egotistical thing to say. But with these having been things that have been rattling around in my head for such a long time, it's just so hard to not see them come to fruition in the original vision that I had in mind, which is something that's higher production and more elaborate clips and opening narration and fancier stuff like I would do in some of my earlier videos. And I like the energy that I have in the unscripted videos better than the energy that I have and that I can hear a different tone in my voice is when I'm reading something that I've written ahead of time compared to when I'm just verbalizing feelings and different thoughts that I have. And so I'm in this situation where neither is perfect. And I know that perfection is one of my problems, and I'm trying to be less obsessed with it. But it's a difficult thing to be able to be okay with seeing this thing that you've fantasized to some degree or other for a long time about, it'll be so fun when I can finally make that episode, and see it come out with a little bit less production value than you imagined. And I know this is entirely the thing on my end, that, I haven't made trailers for these or stuff like that and made big promises of what they're supposed to look like. And then you'll see it and be, oh, that's, it's hopefully not going to be something that is going to be unsatisfying for you to watch. But it's not hard to feel like it's okay for me to make that balancing act, because the trade-off is if I make videos that are unscripted, that are longer form, that are less concise, and less edited, I can make more videos. And hopefully see me through this period of all of this crazy stuff happening and adjustment and stuff like that, so that I can get to a place where I can make the higher quality videos again. And the opposite side of that is I just don't make any videos, and I wait until I'm at a better place so that I can make the fancier ones. But I obviously know that that's not, neither of those is the ideal situation, but the better situation is making some videos. And I'm torn whether to suspend my rule of not, George Lucasing any videos, not going back and going, okay, well, I made this video, a couple years ago, with no edits in it. This is me in the future. I'm thinking, okay, but I'm doing better again. I'm gonna make this the George Lucas version of this, where I re-record it, more concise, with clips. I don't know. It just feels. On the one hand, it would be nice to be able to, give myself that leeway so that I could make some of these videos. It was better the second time around, but also it just feels like a waste of energy trying to redo something, and instead should be moving forward and doing different things. So I don't know. So just because of that, this whole thing, there's that extra barrier every time I look at a video that I want to make, and I think, well, I am feeling relatively inspired, and I could talk about this, but I know it's not going to be as good as I wish it was. And so then I'd sort of been hoarding several videos off to the side. I'd had some of the ones that are either ones that are really close to my heart, or some of the things like the disability diversity videos and things like that, where it's something that's so important that I want to have it be a little bit more professional, so that it I don't know, so that you can take it more seriously as something of value. And so I'm trying to figure out how to juggle all that stuff. In the short term, I'm going to try to make some more unedited videos, but I'm still trying to see if there's some happy medium I can find where I can feel a little bit better about the video having less editing. And I don't know what that would need to be, what that balancing act would require, to where I could feel that the video was more not necessarily better, just that the video was more representative of my passion for these, and that it's something that I want to the reality is I want these videos to be worth your time. That I want them to be something where you're either able to get some enjoyment or a different perspective out of the video. And that's all I've ever wanted from them. And I know that it's personal problem of if I was in a situation where I was more confident in myself, then I would be more confident in, I don't have the extra, video clips or this or that or the other thing in this episode, but I've got me talking to you about it, and that's not nothing. So I don't know. Again, going to try to work with this and see what I can figure out with that. But yeah, again, diverged off into talking about the videos. But short version is better than me and my family are in a better situation than where we were. Mostly because we were basically about the worst we've ever been. And so we're better than where we were, but we're still significantly worse than where we would like to be. And so we're thankful for all the help that we've received, but we still are basically broke and trying to find ways where either I can find some way that the dad can either get help from the government to be able to help support mom, so that he can take care of her or himself, or we can get a nurse or something to come in to help take care of her here so that he could work part-time. I'm trying to get healthy enough so that I could work some, or try to apply for Social Security disability again, and or see if I could get some internet thing going to be able to make some supplementary income. I don't know. These are all things that we're working at, but we're just sort of still taking it day by day. So I do apologize for the long drought of content, and I'll try to get some more videos out there that, as always, for everyone who has for some reason supported this channel for such a long time, even though there's so few videos, and people who've been here for so many years, and new people that have just has found it, that, you know, I thank you all so much. That it means a lot to me. I'd like to think that I would I'd still be doing the videos regardless, but with things being so difficult, well, I think that's probably fair to say that you've saved this channel and kept it alive more or than I have, because as by seeing that there's still an interest for these videos, that, you know, motivates me to keep making them, even though I'm not at full capacity. Whereas I'm motivated enough to make them that I would still be doing that even if there wasn't anyone watching them, but I would be less motivated to try to keep plugging away at it, and instead I would just mark that as, okay, as soon as I get to be doing better, then I'll do this, and I'll do it upright. And I'm trying to work on realizing that you shouldn't wait to do things, that you should do them while you can, as best as you can, and just be not just okay, but respectful of the fact that that is part of your journey. Yeah. And if you're in a bad spot, then that's also part of the journey. And anyway, as always, these videos end up being needlessly long.